to David in a minute, but yeah, this is definitely not the map that I created. That's Matomo user group for France. I guess that's the one we did.
Maybe.
So yeah, this is the map I designed through the help of a designer. That any who would like to get an answer to their question could land on this given map, go over here and talk to Matomo user group members and get an answer to their questions. So to say agencies, individual, and so on and so forth. And some days in the year, we will organize like big event in which people will have the possibility to gather in this room and get a full conference given by a speaker. And if they dislike the conference, they can in fact decide to leave and go within a small room over here and discuss about other different topics. So that's the main idea. It's already 9:10, and I prefer to respect the schedule, so I will leave the floor to David so that he can continue.
All right. Thanks very much, Ronan. I'll share my screen now. All right. And it should be visible. All right. So let me introduce you to Work Adventure. Well, Ronan already did a pretty good job at showing what the experience on Work Adventure look like. I'll do this in basically 4 parts. So we'll be talking a bit about Work Adventure and why it exists. I'll be talking about how it's an open platform, just like Matomo is. I'll be talking also about how you can build your own map or customize your map. And for the last part, we'll go a bit technical, and I'll be talking about how you can integrate Matomo and Work Adventure and how you can track what's happening on the map using Matomo. All right. About me, I already introduced myself, so let's get started. So Work Adventure, you understood, is a platform that you can use to build virtual universes. The whole idea is that we want to reproduce how it feels to be in a physical space, but online and while being remote. What we want to do is to create a sense of belonging. When you are somewhere. I mean, when I ask you when you're online, where are you? There is no answer to that. But where are you? I'm in the kitchen. I'm in the living room. I'm looking at a presentation. We want you to have somehow a location, but online. Why do we want to do this? Well, what we are trying to do is to bring people together, and most of all, we are trying to build more spontaneous interactions. The Work Adventure is probably not the best tool if you want to do asynchronous work, or if you want to ask a question and have an answer later. For that, you have plenty of other solutions, Element, Matrix, Discord, Teams, whatever. But when it comes to being spontaneous and being able to talk to someone right now, well, this is really what we are targeting. And we want basically for people to feel like if they were together in the same room. So when I introduce it like that, you could tell me, oh, like in the metaverse, and no, definitely not. Well, definitely not. You already understood from the presentation of Ronan, but Work Adventure is definitely low tech. It's a 2D universe. We have absolutely no plan to go 3D. It works on any kind of device, low-end laptops, tablets, even phones. You can use. Well, the screen is a little is a bit small, but you can use it on a phone, really. And it's about being spontaneous, as I said. So, I mean, taking a virtual reality helmet and putting it on your head to be able to talk to someone, it's not what I call spontaneous. If you want to have a meeting in VR, you have to schedule it in before. Here, it's about starting work adventure at the beginning of the day. And when someone comes to you, you will hear a ding dong, and you will be able to talk to him. Um, One thing that is really important also, it's energy efficient. And what's really interesting in being energy efficient, it's not using a lot of CPU. You can run it on your laptop, and the battery will not die 5 minutes after starting it. I mean, you can really keep Work Adventure open all day long, and that's not a big issue. You will barely notice. Okay, so what for? Well, if you can bring people together, um, well, you can. The obvious use case is virtual offices. This is basically what I designed it for at the beginning during the COVID pandemic when we were locked at home. This is where the idea came in my mind. And I wanted to see my colleagues and say hello in the morning, not just meet them at regular time, being able to walk from my desk and talk to them. But very soon it appeared that it has also great uses for small communities. Uh, and If you have meetups, it's a great way. Ronan showed it. Basically, everybody can listen to a speaker, and at the end of the conference, you can form small groups that are going to talk together. So it's pretty cool. It's also pretty useful for bigger events. We've had events up to 1,000 people, I think, and we could maybe go a bit higher. So if you've got a big company with which is on several countries, and you want everybody to gather together without taking the plane and having a huge carbon footprint, it can be a solution. And also, it's been used for some as a marketing platform, quite surprisingly. But yes, we've had a number of clients that are using it to showcase a product and put the users in a universe. So let me make also a demo.
We have some questions in the
Yes.
chat, actually.
No. Yes.
The first one is there a way to be pinged if I'm not within the virtual office and that someone needs me for a GT meeting?
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, I'm going to show you how it works. And the demo will answer. And you know what, guys? What you can actually do is come with me in the demo. We can go on workadventure.re, and here you click the try it button. And you will be, so I already logged, so I'm directly in the map. You will be asked for your name to select a Woka. A Woka is a little character. And you will end up in, this is our virtual office, as you can see. And if I move around, okay, so there is another myself because I'm already connected, but anyway. And if I go next to someone, so you're not maybe hearing the sound of the bubble, but there is a ding dong that you can hear. And as you can see, I'm directly in contact with Greg here. If Hi, Greg. And Ronan can join here. And you see the bubble here. As soon as someone enters the bubble, we are in a video chat. So, hey, Ronan. Okay. And if I can move and go and see Alexi. And as soon as I enter, I'm put in a conversation. Hello, Alexi. All right. And you talked about a GT meeting a few minutes ago. let me show you. I move. So for instance, on this map here, we have a small table. And if I click space here, I'm actually entering a Jitsi meeting because Work Adventure is based on the video streams are going through Jitsi. Hello. And so, yes, when you go and see someone in a bubble, basically you can have up to 4 people. And if you want more people, 20, 30, 100, you go in a Jitsi meeting and you have a big meeting. Another thing I want to show you is, okay, I'm going to zoom out a bit. Right. And I'm gonna move here. You can use Work Adventure to integrate with other websites. So here we are showcasing the projects we've been doing. And when I click space, you see it's opening something here. This is actually a web page. And I'm including the web page in Work Adventure using an iframe. So it means that when you design a map, you can actually plug Work Adventure to any website. So here, it's a simple presentation website, but you could, for instance, open, other websites like a Google Drive, a Google Doc, and you are working together on a Google Doc while speaking to each other. And then, well, basically, you just have to imagine what you want and integrate it the way you want. All right. So that was for the demo. Oh no, wait. There is still something I need to show you. Here, I have a number of controls. I can lock a bubble if I don't want to be disturbed. So here I'm talking with Renan, and nobody can enter and bother us. There are silent zones if I don't want to be disturbed. What I want to talk to you about is the map editor that is here. Basically, I can edit a part of the map inline by adding new objects. For instance, I can put maybe a plant here, or maybe I can put a desk here. Who knows? I can also design areas like this. And in this area, if I'm entering the area, I can decide that we are going to open a given link like, like matomo.org. And when I move here, the link will open automatically. Actually, let's try it. Oh, okay. Should have been doing the test for. Oh no, it was actually working. No. Okay.
I think it's because Matomo don't handle iframe support.
iframes, absolutely. So your website has to allow iframes. Thanks very much. Okay, so that's it for the presentation. I'll switch back. I'm going to leave here, and I'll switch back to the presentation. So I want to stress out that this is an open platform. When I say open platform, well, it's open by the license. Work Adventure is released under the AGPL v3 license, modified by the Commons clause. So it's almost open source. The only thing we don't allow is for people to sell subscriptions of Work Adventure online. Apart from that, you can install it. You can do whatever you want in it. You can modify the code. It's just that our business model is about selling subscriptions to Matomo, to Work Adventure, sorry. So you can self-host it, or if you don't want to self-host it because it can be a bit tricky, you can also use our software as a service platform. And we provide hosting for one-time events or long-lasting office. And we have a free tier account. So if you want to try it first, the easiest solution is to create a free tier account, and then you can decide when you think it can be useful. You can decide if you want to self-host it or go through the SaaS route. It's not only open by the license. It's actually Work Adventure Design has been from the ground. It's been designed to be open for extension, and for that, well, what I want to show you is how you can build your own map and how this is open. Basically, you have absolutely no restriction about what you are allowed to upload, what images you are allowed to use. You can really use whatever kind of graphics or assets you want to do. And when you do a design, basically, the design is done in two phases. The first phase is to design the structure of your map. I showed you the map editor. The map editor currently only allows you to put objects. It's what I call the IKEA mode. But if you want to design rooms and basically the base map, what you have to do is to go through an external tool that is named Tiled. So it's open source also, you can download it, and you will design the map in Tiled. Then, in Work Adventure itself, you can customize the map, add objects, and mostly furniture, interactive zones, and stuff like that. You can also do that, everything in Tiled if you prefer. So Tiled, it's basically an external map editor. I'll show you very quickly how it works. And for this, I'm going to load the map that Ronan showed you 10 minutes ago. So you can see that it works just like Photoshop, actually. You have a number of layers here, and you see I can highlight the layers I'm selecting. And if you want to put something, so I'm going on the floor layer, maybe here you have the tiles you can put. So instead of putting pixels like in Photoshop, you are actually putting objects, and maybe here I can decide to put a tree here, for instance, Shazam, and file is going to generate a file, which is a file whose extension is TMJ, and next to the file you will have a bunch of images. The idea is that, and it's a bit special. You would expect a normal platform. In a normal platform, you would expect to take those files and upload them on Work Adventure. But it's not actually working like that. Instead, you can host your map anywhere. You don't have to host it on the Work Adventure server. You can host it on any website. And if you don't have any website, GitHub Pages is actually providing a website for free, so that's cool. And so basically, you design your map in Tiled. If you are going through GitHub Pages, you push your map on GitHub, and GitHub will deploy the map automatically on a web server. And when your visitors come and they are in the browser here, the map will be loaded from wherever it is on the web. And only the customizations, so the location of the objects, is going to be loaded from the Work Adventure server itself. Talking about maps, one thing that is important, well, a map is a file that is anywhere on any web server. And you can actually link maps together by placing entries and exits. If you want to place an exit from Tiled, you would use a special property, which is called exit URL, and you will link to the the other file that is somewhere else on the web. And this actually, it looks a lot like a link, an hyperlink, you know, in on the web. And actually, if you want someone to arrive at a given location, you know, like I want someone, if someone is walking down the stairs on this map, I want him to appear here. So I can put a special start layer property here and look at the name of this layer. It's called down the stairs. If I look at the URL of the map, if I'm putting hashtag down the stairs, just like on a regular web page, the user is actually going to appear at this place on the map. And this is somehow interesting because on the web, you have web pages that can be on any web server with hypertext links and anchors. And in Work Adventure, you have JSON maps that can be anywhere on the web with exit and entry layers. And I like to see Work Adventure as a browser of map and not only a platform, but really as a browser of map. And you can jump from one map to another wherever they are hosted. Now there is something a bit special. We talked about how Work Adventure looks like a browser, but in a real browser, you have JavaScript. And JavaScript allows you to make your web page dynamic and turn your web page into whatever you want. It's just not static content. And in Work Adventure, we built something that is a bit similar, and we call it the scripting API. So the scripting API is a way to modify dynamically the map in your browser. So let me show you how it works. On a map, you can provide scripts, and those scripts can be used to do a variety of things like opening or closing doors, like doing escape games if you want. Really, you can code it the way you want. And those scripts are coded in JavaScript. They are running inside the browser, and these scripts are executed in an iframe. So why? Well, we are executing the script in an iframe for security reason. If someone could guide you to any map and execute some JavaScript in the Work Adventure context, he could actually steal your credentials, stuff like that. So we have to add a security layer, and the JavaScript script we are loading is executed in a very small iframe. So when you arrive on a map, what you don't see is that there is this tiny 1x1 pixel iframe that can contain some dynamic code that is going to be executed. And this iframe is going to communicate with Work Adventure using what we call the post message API. It's a feature that is native in all browsers. Okay, so what can we do with this regarding Matomo? Well, we could use and take advantage of the scripting API to add some advanced analytics. Let's just imagine you are organizing a large event. You want to do some analytics on the visits. Maybe in your events, there are a number of stands with sponsors. And your sponsors want to know how many people came to see their stand, how many people had a look at their website, how many people talked with a representative of the company. Well, legitimate data you might want to gather, right? And Work Adventure does not provide that at all. But Matomo does. It's the job of Matomo, definitely. So how could we integrate Matomo with Work Adventure? Well, through the scripting API. How does it work? Well, I already told you about the map. So here I've got a directory which contains the Matomo map with here the TMG file. And next to the map, there is a main.ts file that you can edit and modify. And basically, you are going to put some special script here. So here, I did not put the script directly, but I'll show you what it could look like. Basically, the script would look like this. So you are all used to Matomo. You all know this tracking beacon. You put this in a web page. So in our case, you will put it in the TypeScript file, and it's going to be loaded by Work Adventure. Now, what you could do here, you see the WA object. The WA object is an object provided by Work Adventure, and this object is containing all the methods that can be used through the scripting API. Here, what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, when you enter the area named sponsor stand 1, execute this piece of code. And what I'm doing is I'm simply pushing a track event and making sure that the event is sent to Matomo. And with this, I'm going to receive to log the event, and I'll be able to do some basic tracking. Now, there is a limit to that, and it's about security again. I told you that the script is executed in an iframe, right? And this iframe is going to be hosted next to your map file, so in a domain name that is not the same domain name as the domain name where Work Adventure is running. So because we are not running in the same domain, your iframe will be treated like a third-party iframe, so cookies will be third-party cookies. What it means is that basically there is a really big chance that the browser will deny you access to the cookies. I mean, even bigger than usually. So it's going to be really hard to track unique visits or stuff like that, unless we do some additional code, but I leave that out of this presentation because I'm starting to run out of time. But yeah, you get the idea. You will be able to track when someone is entering, leaving a stand, is doing some actions for unique visits and stuff like that. It's going to be a bit more difficult. A bit more about the scripting API. You can do a lot of things. You can read the content of an map. I'll basically skip that, but you can do a huge number of things. We have people that have been coding a Pac-Man in Work Adventure. We have escape games. So you can really open your mind and, let your mind free and invent stuff. The important thing is that, oh, wait. The documentation is at docs.workadventure.re, and there is a developer documentation here if you want to see how to script maps. If you want to design maps and know how to do it, the documentation is here, and we have a bunch of videos with my face and my terrible English pronunciation. I'm sorry about that. All right. So tomorrow, how are we going to keep working on Work Adventure? Well, we want to extend the community. We want to make it the ultimate sandbox. And we are really keen of having people surprise us with hacks. I would absolutely love to have someone developing a library, making it easier to integrate Matomo with Work Adventure. And it's really up to you if you want to design, I don't know, a JavaScript library that does that automatically. That would be super awesome. Yeah, that's it. So thanks a lot for listening to me. Yes, Ronan, if you're okay, I think we can jump to questions if there are some. Hey. All right. That's it for me.
Thank you, David. We have plenty of questions in the chat. Well, I say plenty because it's myself who wrote them. So I so yeah. So there was a question from Ronan. I mean, from myself, which was about: is there a way to ping someone if this someone is not available within the virtual office, and someone want to interact with him? So the idea that I had in mind,
yes, okay, this way. Okay, now I understand. Okay.
I mean, it's more like for a Matomo user group. Let's imagine, for example, that we would like myself to be within this user group, but without me having work adventure always on my computer, and that I can get ping if someone from the community is entering within the event, within the digital office, and would like me to come back online.
Okay, so right now we don't have that built-in. You have the scripting API, so you can always code a little bit of a script that is actually calling a website somewhere that is going to ping you. And so, for instance, if you want to design a hook that is going to ping you in Slack or Elements, it's kind of easy to do, but you have to code it. In the future, we are planning, so it may start in the coming weeks, an integration with Matrix.
Okay.
So if we do this, basically, in the sidebar, you could see the Matrix users of the room and you could ping them directly. So basically, you would send a message in Matrix, you can read it in Work Adventure, and the other way around.
Okay.
It's not completely trivial to do because there is all the authentication to pass, but we are thinking about that really hard right now.
Okay. I have another question which just came to my mind. So you show us the red bubble, which means that, okay, don't bother me. Is there any possibility when we are within this red bubble that we get the information notification that someone is trying to connect with us, even though we are on this red bubble? That's kind of linked with the first question, but I'm trying to find already a workaround with this.
Pretty good question. The answer is also no.
Okay.
But usually it's not an issue. Basically, in my experience, when you are talking to someone on Work Adventure, you have the you are talking to someone, so you are on Work Adventure. So if someone is running around you, you see him. It's not just. It's unlikely that you will be on another tab. Usually when you are in a bubble, it's for short-term interactions, like 5-10 minutes. If you want to have a long meeting, you would typically go in the meeting room where you are in a GT. And in a GT, there can be more people. I did not show you, but we also have scripts to open, close doors, decide who can open and close the door based on tags and stuff like that.
Okay.
And sorry, and we have bells. So if you want to have a meeting and close the door and you want to be notified, you can actually put a bell next to the door and people can ring the bell and you will hear it.
Because I was thinking it like, hey, for an event, it perfectly suits our expectation, but for a Matomo user group, we definitely need to, let's find a way that for each member of the user group, they know that every day when they wake up and start their day, they need to open up a tab in their browser and be in. So that's the main thing.
One thing I did not say, we don't have an application, we have a PWA. So basically from your browser, you can install Work Adventure and have a link directly on your desktop that you can open every morning. This is what I'm doing actually.
Okay. How many maximum one-to-one Jitsi meeting can happen at the same time on Work Adventure? Imagine that tomorrow we decided to switch the full Matomocamp on Work Adventure. 1,000 people being able to do a one-to-one event. So it means 500 potential one-to-one Jitsi meeting at the same time. Is it possible?
Yes. Well, actually, when you are in a bubble, it's not Jitsi behind the scene.
Okay.
Jitsi is only used when you go in a meeting room, and
Okay.
when you are in a bubble, the communication is done in a peer-to-peer fashion. So it's not even going through a browser,
Okay.
through a server. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's going. Well, I could talk for hours about that, but the thing is, basically, you are not really limited. When you go in a Jitsi meeting, you need to
Mhm.
have a big Jitsi server for sure.
Okay.
But in bubbles, it's almost nothing. So it comes for free. You could have with maybe a 4 CPU server, you can host 500 users that are going to make bubbles
Okay. Okay.
the way you want. No limit.
And dealing with the big event, how many people can attend to a big conference, for example, let's say 200 attendees? Is it possible without any issues on your side?
Yes. What we usually do is up to 100 participants, you can go in a Jitsi, and that's not a big issue.
Okay.
If you go above 100 people, you need to be careful. It's Jitsi. Well, you can use Big Blue Button also. There is a Big Blue Button
Mhm.
integration, but even Big Blue Button can have limits. And so what you usually do then is the speakers go into Big Blue Button when they walk on the stage, or in Jitsi when they go on the stage. And from here, you stream to YouTube Live or any RTMP server, and you get the stream of the conference back to the attendees. Just like what is happening in Matomocamp right now, actually.
Okay. One other question is like, is it possible to easily get the visit card of each person that we are interacting with? So, for example, in the map that you show, let's imagine that I was going for David. So we meet each other, and is it easy to get like his X account, his LinkedIn URL profile, his phone number, or any other things like this?
Yes, you just need to click on the user, and you can. There is a view visit card button.
Okay. And one last question, unless there are others from the audience. Will it be possible for you to show us or explain us how easy it will be, for example, to post some job offers on the wall or recruiting for any project? So the idea will be to be able to, as a visitor or even as the administrator of the map, to come on the map, to take a wall and to post on this wall any resources in order to say, hey, I'm currently an agency and I'm looking for a Matomo consultant, and here is my PDF with the offer. And
Well, yes. Shall I try a live demo?
yeah, I think we still have at least 3 minutes left, and then
Oh,
we need to leave the floor to the next speaker.
okay, I'll try to do it in 3 minutes. The idea would actually be to well, use a third-party service. So maybe if I had to do it, okay, let me try with Google Docs. Oops, sorry. Docs.google. Oh, Jesus. Drive.google.com. I can create a new Docs document. Here is my list of jobs, for instance.
Mhm.
List. I'll make it available to anyone. Like share with anyone who has the link. Oh, wait. Anyone who has a link. Yes. And from here, I'll go back to Work Adventure. I'll use the inline map editor and say, okay, when you go to this computer here,
Okay.
you can open a link to my Google Doc, and even here I'm going to put a see job list button. Okay, let me try this, and I hope will not. So if I move next to the computer, oh, okay, wait, I need to reload the page. Usually, that's maybe, and I think it's okay. So now you see it's getting yellow, and I can do see job list and Shazam. Oh, so
Wonderful.
rather than having this in, I think I can use a better link, which is only displaying
A PDF. Yeah, sure.
PDF or something, you know. But it's really just as easy as that. The whole idea is that Work Adventure does not provide everything, but you can integrate it with a lot of different things.
Awesome. I'm just looking at, so there's no questions left. David, do you have a final word for the attendees?
Oh, no, well, I was really super happy to be here with you today, and yes, I'm really looking forward to the Matomo community, and I would really very much to have a great integration between Work Adventure and Matomo. So if anyone wants to come and talk to me about that, I will be super happy.
Okay. Thank you, David. So just for information, general information, so the Matomo user group for France have been created. We find out a date, so it will be on April the 4th. It's a Thursday. We don't know yet at what time it will be, how long it will be, but we know that it will be on Work Adventure. So the idea will be to gather all the French community during this event and have either one conference or several conferences. And then thanks to Work Adventure, people will be able to connect with each other and be able to discuss and see how they can help each other. So keep the date in mind. So there's a LinkedIn group which have been created for this. My idea, of course, is to try to expand this concept. So the idea will be to knock at the door at different other, let's say, countries in order to introduce them the platform, the code of conduct, all of this in order for them to already have all the technological part and to just have to deal with the most important, which is the human part, let's say, to connect with each other. Once more, thank you very much for coming with us, David, and thanks as well to all the attendees to choose us.
Thanks very much for inviting me. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm a bit rusty, so in my right there is a Nomi Bourgon just here.
Hi everyone.
She's gonna help me if sometimes I lost my words. So let's begin. So who am I? Before we start, I will present who I am and who am I and who are we as Empreinte Digital. Who am I? My name is Barès Valentin. I'm a head of data centers in Empreinte Digital. That's about all of our activities from cloud and so on. And I'm also known as a Matomo infrastructure expert. Because we have some expertise in management on Matomo. Before I am in management position, I was and I'm still a technical person. I'm a DevOps engineer. I love to use the open source software, and that's why in Empreinte Digital we use Matomo and so many other software. Sorry. That's me. So what about our company? Empreinte Digital, we are based in Angers, France. We have 30 years of existence, and we love open source. Since the beginning of the company, we use open source software, and we still use open source software, and we try to provide open source software for all of our clients and other users. So what are the Matomo numbers at Empreinte Digital? Because we use Matomo since many years, but since almost 4 or 5 years now, we are using and provide Matomo for our clients. Almost 4.5 billion events in 2023. Sorry, that means 12 million events per day. That's for us pretty huge, and we are proud of one special instance with nearly 1 billion events. And we support and work with around 30 clients and more every month, every week, because Matomo became more popular every day. So what about our subject and how the subjects come to us? The subjects come from our clients. One client, Matomo, from INRAE in France. INRAE is a National Institute of Agricultural Research. They wanted to switch from their software to Matomo. And the issue was based on several points. There are already one site factory that allows them to create many websites for their subsidiary. That means when one new project is created in their company, they can create a website to allow people to get information on it. Sorry. So they wanted to be able to create some automation from creation of the website to get the tag in Matomo. They have many users to manage, to be able to let marketing teams on all of their subjects are be able to access to their reports, and they wanted to have some standard reports on Matomo. A key information is that they have already more than 100 sites to implement in Matomo. So after this subject that has been discussed with them, we started to find a solution. And what is this solution? The beginning of a solution, we called it Unified Analytics. So what is Unified Analytics and why we create? Why do we have to create something that to fit their needs? So there are several aspects of this project that well, let's talk about this different subject. There is some technical constraints because, as you can expect, in managing 1,000 websites, you have to create several Matomo to host all of them. So one thing is how you can manage all of this Matomo at once with all of technical constraints, because you have indexation to manage, you have different users in different Matomo instances, so you have to be able to see or to know where all the data are. There is organizational constraints. Sorry for my English. because every users or many users can access to different sites in Matomo. When I say site is in Matomo environment, because for example, if a users if a users manage, for example, 5 or 6 sites, you have to give access to them, and because you have several Matomo instances, you have to create these users on every Matomo instance. That could be tricky. We wanted to be able to create groups, so you have to manage users and groups, and we wanted to be able to restrict Matomo administrator to the Matomo administrator in the different Matomo instance. The client constraint was they wanted to have unified reports, and I will show what this report looks like after in the demo. And there is a marketing constraint, standardization of reports, easy access to the data. Even if Matomo is pretty easy to use, sometimes when you want something special, it can be tricky to find it. They wanted to be able to compare several websites, and because we need to manage several Matomo, it can be tricky. Even if Matomo have a plugin for that, we know that if you have many Matomo instance, it can be tricky to compare all of these websites. And we wanted to make something easier for users, because all users are not used to connect to an analytics software, so we wanted a pretty and easier user experience. So after this different constraints, and we talk with the team, and we try to find a solution. So the first idea was to create DevOps tools for DevOps, because we talk with technical stuff from our part and their part. We thought it could be a great idea to create scripts or scripting stuff, use CI/CD to manage and deploy all of their Matomo website. And it was just like a craftsmanship project. So at the first stage, we thought it would be a great idea, but after some feedbacks and maybe more engineering, we thought it could be a great idea to have something bigger, something more global. So after the client's feedback and our team, we try to reorient the project. So we had a project reorientation, and we suggested a solution that is more global. The need was created by the clients, but we suggest something with more elaborate application, because we thought it could be easier for them to use what we suggest, and they agree what we suggest. So that was a great opportunity to create our application. And our application, it's a web tool, API oriented, which is a global application that has been made on open source software. And this open source software was used. Which open source software was used? So we used Laravel for our PHP framework, which was a go-to for us, because the team who started the project wasn't developers. We are just system administrator with development skills, but we are not developers. So we thought it could be easier to start a project with Laravel, and we use Vue.js for display some boards, just because we like Vue.js. Our application is API connection, make API connection to the Matomo, so it's like a gateway to different Matomos. We made some API in our application to retrieve tags, so to fit the need of automated automation from the clients, because they are already a site factory, so to be more to fit their need, we thought it could be a great idea to make an API for them. And because we want something more standardized, sorry, we create some data objects in our application that allow us to get some entry in our application and some output, and all of this data is standardized in our PHP library. So we made a PHP library to allow better development in our application. So how did we make our product orientation? We create a web application with some technical software open source, but we also changed the team. So the team grew with a product owner. First, we were only 2 on the project, and we were only system administrator. So we thought it could be a great idea to have someone who manage all of them, all of the aspect of the project. So we bring a product owner to the project, and because we had some internal resources for developing a web application, we use these internal resources with developers and with our web accessibility auditor to make something which is pretty more global, as I said before. So from 2 to 5 or 6 people in the team, we reach our project maturity with V0.1 version. And we are pretty proud of what we've made so far, because we started with idea of scripting or a bit of craftsmanship, as I said, and we create a real application for the clients. So what brings this V0.1 version of our application? The application functionalities are import and export from website and of our users. This means you can, in our application, import as a CSV file many users and many websites in our gateway or unified analytics application. And by this mechanism, you can create on your Matomo instance all of the website. The users aspect is managed by our application. Users management is separate in several roles. Simple users, admin users, super admin users. I will show you just after this slide the demo how it works. We made working the reports. So when you connect to the application, you can already see a report of your website. We've made an accessibility audit to our application, and we are pretty proud because all of our team in Empreinte Digital know what is accessibility, and with little effort, we are 60% accessible to our website, which is pretty good because we already planned some works on this. There is a site synchronization from Matomo to import already websites in our application. I will show you just after. And there is a customization for company logo and so and different aspect of the application. So this is what we are already what we have already done. So let's see how it works. And it's demo time, so I hope it's gonna working, of course. So let me set up all of this. I will share my screen. Okay, so here is the application. I will log out. I hope you can see my screen. So this application is you can connect on it if you want, but you will have just the login page. There is a pretty standard login page. I will connect to. Oh, sorry, I have to unlock my vault. Okay, perfect. I can log in now. If in a minute it will unlock all of this. If I remember the password was. Okay, perfect. So when you log on our application, you land on this page, so the sites page. I'm logged as a super admin user, so I can access to many configuration. For example, you can add instance to your management application, Unified Analytics. So as you can see, there is one instance with this name and another one here. So to show you how it's easy to set up a new instance in our application, I will show you how to add a new instance. So you just have to add an ID, for example, here 3, because I already have 2 instances. You just have to fill the forms with the URL, and after the token that you can generate from your personal account in Matomo. So, for example, here I create a new token. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. So you know how to create a token, I think. Oh, sorry. Security, create new token. Perfect. So MTMC, Matomocamp 2023, create new token, or why are you doing this? Because it's a demo, of course. Okay, perfect. Here is my my token. So I just have to fill this form and so save, and you have your why it should be okay. Okay, perfect. So here I have my third instance of Matomo. So just to show you that you can synchronize the website, I will create a new website here in Matomo from my test2 instance. So I'm sorry, my Matomo is in French, so if you don't know French, it can be tricky to understand what I'm doing. So Matomocamp 2003 test 2. Oh, sorry. Let's use Matomocamp URLs and oh, sorry. My shortcuts. Okay. Okay, and I wanted to use euro currency, euro, and save. So here we have our new website in our Matomo. Let's synchronize website to get this website that are already set up in our Matomo into our systems. So here you have our new Matomo instance in our Matomo website in our systems. So in this aspect of our application, if you have multiple Matomo, you can connect them all in our application and synchronize all of your website, and you can have access to every tags to track your website. Every tags from, of course, different instance of Matomo. For example, here you have test 1, but here you have test 2 because we have multiple instances of Matomo. And here, for example, you have our own Matomo, matomocandigital.fr. So it's pretty easy to add a new instance of Matomo in our system and easy to synchronize the sites. So as I said before, you have multiple sites. Here in this view, in administration area for sites, you have the same data from the dashboard, but you also have your ID from your Matomo instance. And as before, you can get the tag from the Matomo API to copy and paste this tag into your website. You can also change some information. For example, it's not .org but .fr, and you save it. And if you go here and I refresh, here the change has been made. So you can easily change website from our application, synchronize them, but also modify them from here. You can import many websites as once, so you can see here. It's just like a CSV. It's pretty easy to set up, and when you say send, you have many websites that are imported. So maybe I had an issue here. Yes, I had an issue. I don't know why. But let's do a new website directly from our application. Matomocamp 2003 cloud tech, and with some website. And it's not an e-commerce, but we can click, you can check it and save. And now a new website has been created, and it has been created on because I know that my instance 1 is beginning as 100 ID. I know it's on instance 1. I can see where it's hosted also by display the tag. So here you can see that it's on test 1 instance. If I go on test 1 and I refresh the website list, I can see there is a new website that has been created, and it's an e-commerce website because I check it. That's pretty easy. That's for managing website. What about users? Because, for example, if I have many users, I want to import them to allow users to access to their website. So I can, as a site, import some users. Here we go. We have user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. And all of the users receive an email to create a new password to access to their space on the website. So let's create one email users. It's what I've done. Yes. Okay. I forgot the .fr. Sorry. Oh, let's create the users. Here we go. Now I can connect to the system, and because I hope you can see both windows. As you can see, as a normal users, I don't have any rights now for now. So, for example, these users we will give access to some website. For example, Matomocamp test. Save. And now, if I refresh, I can see my website that appeared in my dashboard, which is pretty easy to manage because you don't have to connect to your Matomo instance. You just have to let you access to some website directly in the web application, Unified Analytics, and the users can access their website. So if I had another one, here we go. We have two websites. He can get the tags, of course. If he's responsible of his website, he can get the tag to bring it to his system. For example, Drupal, WordPress, and so on. He can choose whatever you want to use, and he can see also a report of his website. This website are fake, so you have there is no data. But let's see another users. So if I go to another user, sorry, and you give access. For example, I will use user 2. Okay, user 2. User 2 is it? Yes, it's user 2. Okay. Here we go. User 2 has to create a new password. Here we go. I will connect, and this user don't have access to any website. Of course, because no one give access to any website to him. Let's change this and give access, for example, to our blog, save, refresh, and now the users have Blog Empreinte Digital, which is a production website, which is already set up. Sorry?
The website is online.
Yes, the website is online. If you want to go, you can.
It's a true one.
It's a true one. And to show you that it's a true one, if I click on See Reports, I have some data that has been ingested in our Matomo. So this report is made by suggestion from our clients, but it's also pretty easy to understand for any users. So we have, for example, the top 10 page from this period. You can also change this period to a more larger one. Okay, here we go. And all data are requested by the API and retrieved in our application to let the user show every range of time range. Yes, sorry. We had some pretty good features. If you click on this switch, the data are also visible for people who have a disability in
seeing colors.
In seeing colors, yes. that's just the beginning of what we want to bring to as an accessibility expert to our application. So this, for now, we just see users with only simple access. If I switch these users to administrator access, now the users can see, okay, perfect. Now the users can see all of the sites from the platform, but also can manage users and sites, so it can easily create one. Demo time. I forgot one slash. Demo time. Let's say UK and UR. And directly here, you can add some users to have access to this website. Okay. Okay. Save. And now these users can create some website. Okay. Why did the test has not been created? I'm sorry. There is still some issue. That's why we're still in development for this application. But most of our functionalities are working pretty well. That's a demo, and of course, when you are doing a demo, it's working very well. So this is what we have been so far in this project, and we fit almost all the need for our clients so far. So let's finish the presentation. Okay. Perfect. I will share you my screen again. Okay, perfect. I hope you can see it. And of course, I start. Okay. If some people were late, you can see all of what we have done so far in a few seconds. Okay, demo time, and what's next? Because we have been been working on this project since many months. We have something we wanted to bring in the future. In the future, we want to bring multi-organization architecture in our application. We want to be able to select, for example, company A with instance Matomo A or instance Matomo B, and create all of their websites and users in this organization, and be able to create a new organization just on the same platform, but very separate between these two organizations. We want to create a dashboard creation in what you see is what you get mode, like Block or like Gutenberg in WordPress, for example. That's an idea. We want to bring report comparison. We already have some development on this, but I couldn't bring it to the demo because we had some issue. But it's already in development. And adding some database tool like Superset, because and all the Matomo community know that you can see some data from Matomo, but sometimes, especially marketing teams, want more data, more insights of what the data from Matomo has been ingested. So that could be a great idea to add some database tool in our application. And if you have any idea, you can share them on the chat. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for developers teams and all the teams that has been working on every day. We are very proud of what we've done so far. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer. And of course, Noemi will help me if I don't understand. So, question time. name.
I
Some...
see a question.
Okay, no.
You have a question, yes, actually in the chat. It's hi Valentin. Is there a paper or a landing page for your solution?
So
A landing page? Not yet. We haven't yet made a commercial version of what we have made so far.
Public so far.
Yeah, not public so far, but that's something we are thinking about because we think it could help many users, many company, and maybe this solution can help company with several websites, subsidiaries, etc., etc. So not yet, but I suggest you to follow our social media because we
On LinkedIn.
on LinkedIn and on the blog, as I presented just before, because we probably think about share something about this. Yes.
We have started to work on it, but it's not like
We
yet.
start.
It's in the works.
Noemi says I will let Noemi answer also because she's in marketing team and communication team. So
Yeah,
here
we've started to work on documentation around the project. It's not out yet because we wanted to share it with you to see how it was received by the Matomo community and see if it's interesting for you as well. So we are currently working on it. But if you're interested, do not hesitate to reach out to Valentin if you want to talk about it. We'll be delighted to do that. So.
Is there any other question? And if you think about something we can bring to the project to what we want to create, do not hesitate because if we see that the community is inspired by what we've done so far, it will bring us du courage.
It will help us to improve the project and the application. So if you have any ideas as well, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be very happy to chat with you.
Is there any other question?
I see someone writing.
Yes. That's a good question. That's a good question.
Are you using different typology of Matomo instance with different premium plugins?
There is different Matomo instances because we manage many instances. We are not able to for now to see if on this instance there is premium plugins, but this is something we think about to maybe enable different plugins or maybe activate different plugins from the admin center. Yes, of course, Roberto, it's a great idea. And also because we are developing some custom plugins for our clients, we think that we could extend the Matomo API to bring some data from Matomo to our application. But for now, we are not able to manage the plugins, but it's in our checklist,
it's in what we want to do in the future.
In our roadmap.
But these are the kind of ideas that we are really interested in.
Yes, definitely.
So thank you very much.
Anything else, if you want? Sorry for the webcam.
It's technical, it's for you.
Yes, it's technical, and this is what it's a very good question, because when we started the project, this aspect of Matomo is something that we think about it. Our client doesn't use segments or custom reports so far. So our D0.1 version doesn't bring this aspect of Matomo. But yes, I think the idea of our application is allow some simple users to have access to admin functionalities without to be able to connect to the Matomo server as an admin. So yes, that's definitely something we want to do, but for now it's not in the product. But it could be a great idea for this. Is there an email address I can use to get in contact? Yes, you can get my email address. I will.
He's going to give it to you now.
Yes. If you want to reach me, I will be happy to answer and talk about the project. Our application is a gateway to different Matomo instances. So because we are a gateway, we can extend some functionalities to simple users, but also creates new functionalities to Matomo, etc., etc. So it's 10:45. Maybe we can close the room. I don't know.
Is there any other questions?
Is there any other question?
Good.
I think we can close, Ronan. Thank you.
Yes, we can close. Thank you for the call. I stopped the recording, and thank you for answering all the questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you want more view or more talk about this project, do not hesitate. I'm still here on the chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
And share screen icon. 3 of them are in the middle of your screen.
On the middle. Okay, share your screen. Okay. I think it's this one. Hopefully, yes. Okay. So now, do you see the?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so I'm going to start with it. So today we're going to talk about e-commerce tracking and how to use GA4 and 3 data layers with GTM and Matomo Tag Manager. The plan is to talk about 3 different use cases. First one being using GA4 data layer, GA3, and using GTM, and then doing the same with only Matomo Tag Manager. As an introduction, I'm going to talk about me a few seconds. I'm doing web analytics since 2014, specialized in Matomo, co-writer with Ronan Chardonnot of the book on Matomo published by ENI. In parallel of my Matomo activities, I'm also doing CRO strategies with the help of tools such as Content Square, Camleon, and I'm also I have a few projects using Piwik Pro. I'd like to thank a few people without whom I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. First of all, Ronan Chardonnot, Ronan Hello, Jean-Marc Courtiade, and of course all of my clients, thanks to whom I'm able to learn and do amazing stuff in the field of web analytics and performance enhancement. So what are the situations that I encounter with my clients most of the time? Either they have they moved to GA4 and they implemented the e-commerce tracking thanks to a GA4 data layer, and they want to stop using GA4, or they want to have the data as well in Matomo using GTM, or the same situation but want to use a Matomo Tag Manager. So this is a situation where people are a bit decepted by GA4, and they want to go with Matomo, which is the best replication, so to say, of GA3 behavior in terms of data collection and representation. And we have another situation where people have a long time in place EEC, Google Analytics Commerce data layer, and they want to collect data in Matomo using GTM or Matomo Tag Manager. So what I'm going to present here is based on the great work of one of my colleagues, Roland Hello. And then you can find all the content on his website with other really valuable content around Matomo implementation. So first situation, how to use GA4 e-commerce data layer with GTM. What we want to do is replicate what we had in the beginning with GA3 Enhanced e-commerce. So to say, we have the product page view, so you can use this tracking code within your Google Tag Manager with a custom HTML. You just copy and paste that and use a trigger which is for GA4 the view item. I'm doing this presentation because I want to also be a bit precise about why I'm doing this presentation. I'm not a technical guy, but I was looking for convenient ways to activate e-commerce tracking. And in fact, it's not that I'm going to explain how it's working, but I just want to say, okay, you have resources that you can use, and mostly on Ronan's website, that as a non-technical guy, you can use from scratch, and it's going to be working. So if you want to use your GA4 data layer, just take this piece of code, use a custom HTML tag, use the proper trigger, and your product page view will be activated and collected within Matomo. Just another thing, in the article which explains everything in Ronan's website, you also have the information that you have to delay the tag from a few milliseconds. So I just strongly recommend that if you want to implement that, you just go to his website and just read everything in depth. Step 2, which would probably be step 1, because most of the time you arrive on a category page and then move to a product detail page. But anyway, you can use this simple script as well, using the GA4 trigger being the view item list. The cart update, if you want to implement that, you won't be able to use the GA4 data layer, so you will need this specific data layer implementation. So if you are using the Google Tag Manager with the Google data layer, you have to replace the window.mtm and the window NTM push by window.datalayer.push and keep everything else in place. Then you use this custom HTML in order to collect the data regarding the cart update. And lastly, you can use this one in order to collect the transaction information. So this is a screenshot of a real GA4 data layer, and here the script you can use, and it's been tested and it's working really fine. The other situation is really when people have something in place for years and it's a GA3 data layer, then they don't want to rewrite stuff, and they just want to reuse what's already in place. You can as well use this particular tracking code, custom HTML, to fire your purchase. I did not do anything for all the let's say other enhanced e-commerce features that exist, but you can replicate quite anything using custom events, for instance. But the main stuff was around GA4, since GA3 is not existing anymore. And yes, the last part of the presentation, I'm realizing that it's going to be a quite short presentation, but imagine that you want to use Matomo Tag Manager. We have the information that Matomo Tag Manager is able to recognize Google data layer, except from the moment that there are changes that occur after the initial page view. So again, thanks to our beloved colleague, we have a solution. You can sync your Matomo data layer with the Google data layer. You have to use this custom HTML tag, and you will be able to take everything that's in the Google data layer to your _MTM data layer. So it's quite straightforward. All right, 10 minutes presentation, realizing it's quite short, but that's it for me. I don't know if you have any questions.
I don't see questions in the chat, but maybe in complement to this talk, you may want to track different e-commerce events, such as ad payment info, ad shipping info, etc., that are available in GA4 and GA3. Maybe you can trigger that custom events to get a bunch of e-commerce events in your Matomo instance.
Yeah, sure.
I'm asking in the chat if there is any question. I don't think there is no more question. If you're done, thank you, Frédéric, for the talk. We are looking to stop the recording, and maybe you will be still available on the chat to answer further questions or to answer anybody's question about Matomo e-commerce.
Yes, of course. And thank you for moderating, and thank you for your work.
Thank you. Don't forget to stop. We have like few minutes to present what is the competition, what kind of plugin did we have, and who is the winner, and what are the prices. Okay, let's start. About the competition, like 3 months ago, we announced on different social media and via the official Matomo mailing list, we announced that we want to make a Matomo developer contest during the Matomocamp event. That contest has one obvious goal. That goal is to create more plugins into the marketplace, to let know that creating a Matomo plugin is not hard as you can imagine. It's like pretty easy if you know how to code basic languages. And we want to make the promotion of developers, plugin, and Matomo over every open sources community like WordPress community, open source CMS communities, and other open sources communities. So first, when you want to create a plugin for Matomo, you have to identify a problem within the Matomo instance. So like, I want to make that kind of stuff, but that solution doesn't exist. So I want to troubleshoot a problem. I want to create a new functionality. I want to fix a bug. Just identify a problem and try to solve them. Solving a problem in Matomo, there is like different ways. You can contribute to the core Matomo project, like creating an issue on the GitHub, fixing the problems, and then submitting your issue, submitting a pull request to Matomo, and hopefully being approved by the Matomo official team. But it could be quite longer. You can obviously create a plugin from scratch using the starter plugin within the Matomo instance. And you can build third-party programs using the API. Every kind of solution have benefits and bad usage. API can be used by Matomo on-premise instance and cloud instances, but it have like limited scopes, so you can only manage data that is provided by the API. Creating an issue on the Matomo core platform is long, and you have to get very good skills to be approved by the Matomo teams. And the last one, the creating a plugin, is maybe the best solution, but it could only be installed on on-premise Matomo instances. So many different ways to attack a problem and many different issues to every instance. We want to thank first all the attendees, all the developers, and Matomo, which is sponsoring that competition with a gift of prizes, as you will see later in the presentation. So we will we have to show you every plugin that have been submitted to prevent revealing who is the winner. We just classed the plugins by alphabetical order, so you will see plugin in a different order, maybe as the winner. And the first one is a goal conversion export, a plugin that have been built by Benjamin Tourment, which is a French developer. This plugin, we will make a demo, but shortly, this plugin allow you to export conversion data to the Facebook API in order to get your return of investment for every campaigns you've made, like on the Meta network. So let's see how it actually works. So I have too many screens that are opened. So I've installed all the plugins that are present in the competition. It's only on a demo instance, so that's not a real instance, but with some data. And if you want to try this plugin, we have to go into websites. You can go into goal conversion export. And as you can see here, I've tested several exports, such as Google and Facebook exports. So let's see how it works. Firstly, we have to create a new conversion export. You can select a name within your exports. Then you can choose between Google and Facebook exports you can use. So in our case, we can use Facebook because Google is already supported by default in the Matomo cloud and in Matomo premium plugin. So here we are handling Facebook. Then we have to generate and to paste here an access token that will be created, and it will be generated, and you have to copy that token and send it to Matomo, to Facebook in order to get access to the file that will be generated. Here we can set up how many days the export handle, so how many days in the past we have to export to Meta. Then you just set your pixel ID, Meta access token, and here is the part that interests us. You have to select different goals here, like how many people just registered, how many people had a subscription active or just paid a product. You select that goal. So here there is like a list. So you want to track how many people have sent the contact form, which is like a demo instance. Here you just set the alias you want to match in the Meta database. And the third parameters here is just to use the value of the conversion to use as a money in the export and match the campaign revenue. So you can include or not include the revenue. And then you can save. So I won't save that because I already have one just right there. And when the file is generated, you can download the CSV file. You have to handle and to manually upload to the Meta platform, or you can generate an API endpoint, and then Meta will fetch automatically the file with that endpoint. So there is different way you can use that plugin. So this is the first plugin we've got using the submission form in our Matomocamp websites. This is a pretty good plugin, such as every plugin we've received. So this is our first competitor. Then the second competitor we have. Maybe Jorge would like to present something.
Well, it's for me it was pretty much an aha moment when I saw this plugin. I could have used this a couple of times, because when you work with a company that has multiple Matomo dashboard users, a frequent question you will get is like, when is my report finished? When is my segment available for me to check? And this plugin deals with that, and that's pretty neat and quite awesome. And I just love this plugin. It's maybe you can show the features,
yes,
how it works.
We are going to see in the interface. That plugin have been coded by Valentin Barrez and Cara Sibyl, and we will just see right now how it works in the UI. So as the latest plugin, you have to go into your general settings, and then in the diagnostic area. And as you can see, we have a new menu here called Indexation Viewer. When you go in that indexation viewer here, we are still on a demo instance, so we are like low reports with like low data. But as you can see, it obviously works even on a demo instance. So here we can have every segment that we use on the website. And for every segment, we can see if the reporting process works and have done the reports. You can filter every report by status to see if the reports are okay or in error or invalidated, because you can invalidate reports using a plugin or using the command line. And here you can see every report have been generated using the archiving process within Matomo. This plugin provides a clear UI to see if the report have been processed or not, or if they are still in error. Okay. We will continue with the third plugin we've received. The third plugin we've received is Segment Authorization. It has been built by Ronan Chardonneau, and this plugin will allow you to edit a config file within a clear UI. So it's just a simple section in the administration, and you can edit the role that is allowed to create a new segment within your Matomo instance. So let's see. Like the two other plugins, we have to start within the backend of Matomo, the administration. Then you go to System, and in System, in General Settings. in general settings, we can start with by clicking in the menu as segment authorization. And here, as you can see, the people that are able to create segment are view users, which can be a problem of security in your Matomo instance. By default, it's admin if you never touch this plugin, but I've already tried this plugin, so I managed the value. Here, we can click and we can choose between the 4 rights that Matomo provides to our users. And you can set that creating segment is only available for writers, super user, or administrators. So it's typically a UI to prevent you to edit the config.ini.php file within your Matomo instance. It's a clear UI to manage that value. Okay, that's the 3 plugins we've received within the Matomo developer competition. But during the competition, there are very, very more plugins that have been published on the marketplace. And I will obviously just show them. They are not in the competitions. They are like not the nominee, but they are still in the class, still in the room with us. And you can obviously use them. One of the first plugin, one of the latest plugins that have been published to the marketplace is the auto login plugin can. I never test auto login plugin, but as you can see here and as you can read, it might be useful to automatically authenticate people from HTTP headers. There is a plugin called iPad Detector that have been published like a few days ago, which allow you to detect easily iPad services or iPad instead of macOS, because Matomo has little issues differentiating iPad and macOS, so it could store iPad visits into macOS visits. A plugin that I made that just allow you to paste CSS, HTML, or JavaScript code right in your Matomo instance. It's quite simple plugin. Here we have Tag Manager Extended, a plugin that allow you to add many more tags to the Tag Manager. Another plugin that allow you to chat within a widget on your dashboard with the ChatGPT, that you can ask any question you want to ChatGPT. It's not Matomo contextual, but it's an easy way to chat with ChatGPT without leaving your Matomo instance. Here is another plugin that allows you to track weather reports. So we will have a talk just after this one about that plugin creation. Here we are import annotation widgets, that another plugin from Ronan Chardonnot that allow you to bulk import annotations right in the UI at once. And in addition, with ChatGPT, you can generate a list of annotations with ChatGPT and then auto import them with that plugins. And segment horizon we already seen. So if we look at the marketplace have never been so dynamic since we start the competition. So we just write on every network that there is a competition. There are few people that works with the competition, but many people are trying to create like new plugins. There are like almost 10 new plugins within the marketplace instead of like 1 every 2 months in normal way. So this is for us a very good success. Then we are talking about ourselves. So we are the jury. We are at the initiative of the competition. And I'm presenting myself. I'm Ronan Hello. I'm a French web developer. I'm a Matomo community. I'm Matomo expert. I'm providing trainings, providing software development about Matomo, managing instance and stuff about Matomo. And also I develop theme and plugins within the Matomo marketplace. So Jorge, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Well, first of all, I'm many-year user of Matomo. I've been working as Matomo lead for Digitalist many years, and but nowadays I'm an operation manager for privacy at Great IT. Still focusing on Matomo, not exclusively, but mainly. I have developed many plugins to Matomo. Some of them are premium, and I also been a contributor to some of the plugins in the marketplace. And I have also contributed to Matomo Core as well. I have many years of experience both in Matomo Core and Matomo plugin development. I have had 2 talks at least about Matomo plugin development, one this year and one previous year. The previous year was specifically about Vue.js, and this year was more generic. What else is there to say? I've been collaborating with Ronan Chardonnay many years, and I'm also a trusted partner with InnoCraft Matomo, and I'm a certified Matomo master trainer.
Okay. So thank you for introducing yourself. Now we can look at the prices, because as in every competition, there are prices. Our prices are provided by Matomo himself. We just asked for the creation of that competition, Matomo. We requested some prices that you will see later, and Matomo obviously say, okay, we followed you. You can provide that price. We will provide the different prices to the winners you have to announce. So okay, the first price, the price for the winner, is €200 cash and a premium bundle for 1 year with unlimited users, which is approximately $5,000, which is the very, very, very good price, because it's the best bundle plugin you have. So it's like all the premium plugin that owns in a bundle. So if you don't have that price, it will be very, very great. The second price is €150 cash and the gross bundle, which is the second bundle that Matomo provide, with almost $3,050 for 1 year. Still 1 year available and unlimited users. So still a very, very good prices. And the third one is €50 cash and content optimization bundle for approximately $1,700 for a year, and still for unlimited users. So those prices are provided by Matomo, and if you are in the list of the winner, you have to contact maybe myself or Jorge or Ronan Chardonnay, which actually works at Matomo, and we will bring your prices to you. Okay. Now it's time for the winner. Okay, maybe Jorge would like to start to announce something. So the winners and the podium, the list of winners are based on criteria such as quote quality, is the plugin useful for the community, sorry, I missed the grid. Quality content, is it helpful? Does it follow the Matomo developers guidelines and every stuff like that for the quality? Okay, so here we have a Matomo podium, which is quite cool. And we will start with the third winner, with the third place. And the third place is segment authorization by Ronan Chardonnay. I don't know if you can hear it, but that's a very good way of doing a plugins. So we can clap our hands, but we are still live, and there is many people on the chat. So Pambaris is actually writing, but Ronan is actually in a conference. But greetings and very, very, very good job. But we have to know that Ronan Chardonnay is actually not a web developer. So he learned to develop, and he's actually developing using friends, using ChatGPT almost, and the Matomo documentation to create plugins. He provides many plugins to the marketplace. Okay. Then if we announce the second place, you already know who will be the first one. But the second place actually is indexation viewer, which is this, we already see a very good plugins that is needed for every developer, every maintainer of Matomo instance. So you will have the gross plugin bundle and 150 euros cash price. So we may upload them, Valentin and I don't remember the other people, but we can clap in our hands for the team. And we saw that Valentin is in the chat and say thank you too for providing this plugin for the community. And maybe we didn't see the plugin on the marketplace such as the first one, but I think that if you agree with that, you can publish the plugin on the marketplace. It will be very great for the community. I'm just reading the chat because Valentin is talking with us in the live chat. I think there is an issue with a webhook when I use GitLab. Okay, so maybe you can write to the Matomo marketplace using marketplace@matomo.org, and maybe it will handle the issue and fix this. I will use our GitHub account. Okay, perfect. So hopefully I want to see that plugin on the marketplace. Thank you. And don't forget to create a new version for the incoming Matomo v5, which is not compatible by default with Matomo v4 plugins. Okay, and the plugin is already compatible with v5, which is perfect. Thank you. And then we have to clap in our hand for the first one, which is the goal conversion export made by Benjamin Tourment. Benjamin is not with us in the chat, but we are obviously proud of him for the plugins development. We have not more information about that, but we see our chat is actually on fire. We have like plenty of emojis in the chat, so it's very cool. All of your three have to contact us in order to get your prices, the license key for the bundle and the cash price that Matomo will send you, obviously. So we really want to thank Matomo for the prices, Jorge and the team like Ronan Charnolo that help us to organize that competition. Thank you, obviously, all of us. And the competitors that make that competition possible. And everybody here that have tested the plugins, that have installed the plugin, read the code, and organize that. So thank you, and enjoy the new plugins. And that's not because the competition is finished that you have to stop creating plugins. So continue. It will be the best thing for the community and the best thing for Matomo. Thank you. This new talk, today we are talking on how to measure whether to identify user behavior. This is essentially a talk about how to handle a problematic, how to fix a customer questions issue with plugins. So we are talking about plugin development. We are not talking always about code. We are talking about how to solve the problem. Okay, let's start. Firstly, I will introduce myself, and then we will talk about customer needs, the different approach that we can handle to solve the problem. Then we are talking about, obviously, the plugin development, then how that plugin has several parts, like it's a plugin part on the Matomo instance, but there is also a connector you have to deploy on your websites. And then how we can manage with the tag manager, and then obviously how we can analyze the collected data right in your Matomo interface. So firstly, introducing myself, my name is Ronan Hello. I'm founder of OpenMOS, which is a service company about Matomo services. I'm a full-time consultant in Matomo and trainer, and I create several plugin themes that are available on the marketplace. I create some documentation tools, many things that's turning about Matomo ecosystems. Okay, let's start with customer needs. During a mission, customer tell me that with his e-commerce website that's selling outdoor products, he have an insight. He know that he sell more during the summer and spring, but he can't quantify that value. So he just know that when it's shiny, it's summertime, his e-commerce works well. But we can't have data actually yet, and he can't prove me that it's only when it's shiny, and he can't value how much the sun and how much the weather have an impact on the sales of his e-commerce websites. He's obviously not alone with that issue, with that problematic. So I've listed some of them. So maybe if you are like a sports website owner, if you have like sports activities and some people are registering to your sports room with the website, you want to know how traffic works. For kids and family activities, cultural outings, many stuff like outdoor activities. But as the weather impacts outdoor activities, it also impacts negatively or in the good way indoor activities. Like if it's very bright shine outside, you may not go to the cinema. But if it's rainy outside, you may have to go to the cinema. So it impacts in the both way, outdoor and indoor activities. It also impacts travel and tourism. And I know that you may have think of other sectors of activity of different industries. And yes, of course, it impacts many people. So we have to answer that question. And we have several questions in a row. Like, how does the weather change visitor behavior? Did my website see more conversion on sunny or rainy days? How can I avoid low traffic when the weather is expected to change? And what is the difference in traffic between rainy and sunny days? They are like typical questions. And we let's see how we can handle that question. There are different possible approaches. The first things we have to do is to know a way, so to have a way to collect weather data for every customer. So like every customer are all around the world or all around the country or the region, we have to know what the weather for every visitors. How can we do that? Firstly, we have to choose a weather provider, a provider within an API. So there are several weather API available on the market, and we want an API with the largest amount of data for free, because we want that plugin to be free and to work with everybody and without limitations or long-term limitations. We want a free API with low configuration, so the user should just have to set their API key and it runs out of the box. We want an API that works using the IP address instead of providing a city name or a zip code. So I tested up many weather API. Every API I test asks me for a city name, a country name, or a zip code. We don't want to provide that information because it will be very hard to provide. It will request more data to provide and get information. We want maybe less accurate weather information, but we want it automatically based on the API. Why the API? Because everybody got the API. The API can sort of telling us a large location of the user, and that large location is still accurate for us for that project. So we want an API based on the IP address of every visitors. And to handle multiple language and multiple units in the interface and in Matomo, the plugin should work in every languages or a large amount of languages. Okay, here there are 4 APIs, and everybody told me to start with OpenWeather, but OpenWeather is a very good one. But I started coding that plugin with Weather API, the green one, as you can see here, because it has low limitations. So you can perform like many requests before it started to be premium. The output response have many data, and it works with an API, and you can provide a language. So the API can speak in French, in English, in Spanish, in Danish, in any languages you want that's supported by the API, which checked all our checklists. Okay, if we are starting by building a plugin, it won't work with Matomo Cloud. So we have different environments here. We have Matomo Cloud-based user and Matomo on-premise users. If you are Matomo Cloud, as you can't install plugins, the only way you have to collect weather information is by creating custom dimensions in the scope of visits. You have to create every dimensions for every response you want to handle, like temperature, wind speed, air pressure, visibility, clouds, etc., etc. It works, but it's like not very easy. And depending of the plan you have on Matomo Cloud, it can block many slots available for your custom dimensions, which is not a very good way. So I don't want to go that way, because if we create custom dimensions, you can't replicate that configuration for new customers. You have to do the same stuff every time you want to deploy that kind of feature. So my choice is to create a brand new plugins that can create new dimensions to the database and provide a smooth UI where you just have to paste your API key and that runs out of the box. So let's see how we can create a plugin. So we will not deep dive into the code, okay? We will just see how a plugin works in large lines in 6 steps. The first thing you have to do, as you can see, is you have to generate a plugin structure using the Matomo developer mode. To create a plugin structure, you just have to turn your local Matomo installation into development mode using the PHP console development.enable command line. And then you can execute a new command line, which is PHP console generate plugin. Then the command prompt asks you for plugin name, plugin description, plugin version, etc., etc. Just enter, and it's generating and scaffolding a brand new plugins. What do we found in a plugin structure by default? Here is the plugin name. There is like a config folder that doesn't matter for us at a time. So here we don't have to write in config.php. We don't have to write in trackers.php. Then we have a folder that containing documentations that's only useful for the marketplace. That's how you write new pages on the marketplace. So here is the FAQ, and here is the description pages. Then there is a folder where we can store the screenshots that we have taken from the UI that allow users to preview the plugin before installing it, which is very good for marketing, very good for user engagement. And then we have a changelog file where you can write every changes you made, every release you provide. A plugin.json, which is the core main file where the plugin versions, plugin name, plugin description, etc., etc. A README file just for you, and a weather.php file, which is our starter point when you want to write the PHP configuration. Okay, we have our starter plugin structure. Now we have to keep in mind that we want to create new dimensions for the weather data. We want to create all the dimensions that we need. Okay, we want to store speed, wind speed, temperature, dew point, I don't know, sunny or rainy, the weather conditions, cloud, occupation of the space. Okay, we want to store many data. One thing I do, so I made a first call to the API. The API give me a response, and I show in that list of data that the API provide me what kind of data will be useful for me. And based on that response of the API, I create the missing dimensions right in Matomo. To create dimensions, no code. You don't have to read the code that on the side. You just have to write PHP console generate dimensions. This will provide you a single file that in a row create the database, handles dimensions, support segments, all in one file. So you don't have to code as many as you expected at default. So here, the class, you have to change the name. So here I just said temperature. The column name, which is the value of the column name in the database. So here is a visit scope dimensions. So we have to store data once per visit, not once per action, which is very different. Here we just store the data in the weather underscore temperature column in the data table. Then we have to define a type. What kind of temperature? Temperature is obviously a number, but temperature could be a decimal number. This is why we just set float to the column type. And obviously, in some country, there is no there is no weather chapter. So there are no weather insights. So in sometimes the weather API just send no response for some insights, for some value. So when you ask for temperature in a country that doesn't support the API, which could appear, you have to set a new value to the actual number. Then you just provide a singular name, a segment name that could be used through segment generator or through the API, and an accepted value, which is just a text that should be displayed in the UI. So here are 5 values you just have to set. Then I adapt the code that is generated here. So I didn't write this code, I just adapt the code. And here I just write weather temperature exactly as I've written here in column names. So I could maybe override this just by placing the protected, because it's protected, but I can maybe use directly here the variables. So as you can see, we have 2 similar or almost similar functions. Here is the on new visit function. So when data comes for the first time, it will be stored. How? We grab the information here. Here we just check if there is data. If there is no data, it goes out. It returns the exact value. So if it's like 17 degrees, okay, we store 17 degrees to the database. Then if it's empty, we store 0, like null in the database. Or like 0 is not exactly null, so it's like 0 as a value. And if we don't have anything, we just return null. Okay, this is for the new visits. But every time your user is changing the page, it have to trigger a new actions, and maybe it could send a new weather information. You have to know that we fixed that issue later in the code, but at this time for the plugin development, Matomo asks you what you want to do when someone sends a new value for the same visit. So here we are just overriding the default value. But if the value have already been persisted to the database, we don't override it. So if there is new value arriving and nothing in the database, we store the fresh new value. If there is something in the database and there is new value arriving, we do not override the value, okay? Because we don't need to override the value, so the weather doesn't change as quick as any other things. Weather is like slow data, slow information, so we don't need to update the value every time something is coming to the database. Okay, now we have all the dimensions we need to make the plugin works as a starter point. Now we need to test the data storing of the custom dimensions we just created in our plugins. How can we test this? Firstly, I just want to be sure that the database has been updated to allow data to be stored in the right columns. Here, as you can see, I just open up a PHP MyAdmin, which is quite a bad tool, but very handful and very useful in a local environment. And here I'm just looking at a demo database, and I can see my columns for every dimensions we just created. Right. By default, it should be null, but here is a screenshot with populated data right in the database. And how can we test sending data at this point of developing the program? You just have to fake visits or to override current visits. When you hit a page in a Matomo website that is tracked by Matomo, it will trigger a request to the Matomo instance, and that request is just a URL with parameters. If you want to test your custom dimensions, you just have to add to that URL the end, then the name of the column on the database, and a fake value. If you add this to the current URL, obviously Matomo will keep that value and store this in the database. And I tested it for every of my dimensions because some are floats, some are integers, and some are strings. So I have to test every of my dimensions to be sure that the database handles the right format. Okay. Here for visits dimensions, you can see that column right in the database in the Matomo log visit table. Okay, now we have dimensions working with storage working. We want to provide data all over the Matomo instance. To provide data from the database to reports, widgets, segments, and everything else, we have to build an internal API. Matomo lets you create a plugin API within few lines of code. Here, we are in the api.php file auto-generated in your plugins, and we have to create a function like this for every dimensions we generated. To make it more easy to maintain, I've just created a brand new function here, which is get data table with parameters. Check if you have the right access to view that data, and then it will process the archiving system. It will pick the archive in the database and provide some data, which is like default works of Matomo. Here, for every dimensions, I have to copy that functions and change temperature by every other dimension we need. And every time we trigger the get data table function, which is just here. So one time this, several times this, and you just have to adapt. The only things I've made here is to add a filter for some of the dimensions I have in my plugins to group data by floating. So I rounded floats value like 2.5, 2.7, 2.8. We don't need that accuracy. So I round all of the data to make it like match with 2 or 3, depending on the nearest integer. So here I'm just rounding all of the data that's been stored in the weather temperature reports. So it will group data, and you will have more readable reports. Every endpoint of the API will be available under a new endpoint generated with a prefix as plugin names dot function name. So here we are in weather reports plugins, and we want to access get temperature function. That's how API works. It works internal, and if you have an access token, out token in Matomo, you can access that API from any other services like third-party services, or maybe another internal plugins of Matomo. Okay, we have dimensions, we have tested dimensions, we have internal API. Maybe we just have to create reports. Now we have to create reports. Reports is just the data table that shows up the data that are stored in the database. Matomo has a specific system of archiving that we are just talking in the next slide, but we have firstly to create basic reports, and then we are adding like reporting process to that reports. To create a report in Matomo, you have a clear line of code, which is PHP console generates --reports. And for that reports, actually, you may have to init the reports, just set the default configuration, such as the name. And here we handle translation. So the plugin is available in English and in French. And if you want, if you ask me to make that plugin like German friendly, we can add German. And then we just say that, okay, these reports will handle a new dimension, which is the temperature dimensions. Okay, this is the custom temperature dimensions we just built before. Then we have the documentation, which is still a string of text. Then the order, so it's the fourth reports in the page. Yes, that report handle goals metrics. That's very important for our case, for the customer's journey we imagine. And then we just add the subcategory to organize that report under a global weather page. And then here is how we configure the view. We handle a data table view, and then we just add a label based on the dimension name, and we enable searching. That's all. I cleaned up the page because PHP files are like much longer, but here is the only things you have to edit in order to create that plugin. Okay, now we are in a strange period because we have like Matomo v4, which is at the end of servicing, and we have like Matomo v5, which is in release candidate and will be released very, very soon. So we have to handle our actual customer and prepare the future with archiving system. Archiving system is slightly different in v4 and in v5. So for this plugin, I started by coding the v5 method, because my local environment was on Matomo v5, but when I tested up on my own demo copy of the production Matomo instance, it's not working. So we have to roll back and then create the v4 archiving report system. To create the archiving report system, we just have to extend the archiver class, which is built in Matomo. And then I've created, like I reverse engineered many plugins of the Matomo instance. I see that every developer just defined constants as record name and dimensions. And then we just have to create in that plugin this aggregate by dimensions. So here is my temperature, which called that function. We call that functions. And that function here is just running the importer process using that function. It seems complicated, but you have to copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste every time that line and that function, and it will work for all of your dimensions. Then we are looking for the v5, which is a good thing. So v4 is like archaic system. v5 is very different, but works very, very the best way we can imagine. So here we have a single file per dimensions, which is not the case in the v5, in the v4. In the v4, all the dimensions have to be stored there. In the v5, you have one file per dimensions. And here we have the constructor that set different default value. You have to make a recorder that creates the archive based on, you see archiver temperature record name, so the default record, and then the archiver. And here we can add different metrics we want to process in the reports. That's all. And at the end, we just say that we want to have data only if the value is longer than 0. So if we have a value, we want the value. If we don't have the value, we just want a placeholder value or nothing. So now we have our backend plugin system working. Okay, we have an API, dimensions, database, reporting, archiving system. All is working, but we don't have any code to send the data through that plugins and store it to the database. So now we are looking how we can grab the weather information on websites and then sending through maybe HTTP tracking API through the plugins to store it on the database and get weather data available on the Matomo instance. So here is a custom code I totally wrote. That code is based on the extend tracker method. So it's just a JavaScript file we have to generate. You have to write your own functions, and that will result into pack.push set weather function with lots of parameters. Okay, when you handle new functionality into Matomo, you always have to set underscore pack.push and then the name of the function, the name of the plugin, sorry, dot the name of the function. So here is the function. What did we do? We just have many parameters passing through the functions. And what we are doing here is just we are adding every value to the HTTP request of the tracker. One thing we just do in that plugins is we add a ping equals 1, because if we don't add that line, every time you push a new weather value to the Matomo instance, it will be recognized as a new page view, and we want to have duplicates page view, so we just add ping is equal to 1, and the data will just go to the page view, store in the database, but don't change anything. Every time we have to make an update on that file, Matomo have to recompile the JS file. In order to make this possible, you just have to type in your terminal PHP console custom-matomo-js double dots update, and it will re-render the tracker.js file. Okay, this is how we send data to the Matomo, but how do we provide weather informations into that functions? Let's see. There are different ways of getting data from the API. That API requires IP address of the user in order to locate the user and to provide weather informations. Here, we want to get the IP address. To get the IP address, there are many ways. If you are on a PHP server, you can use the functions called PHP $server remote address. This will give you the IP address of the user. But if the user is behind a proxy server, it will give you the IP address of the proxy server, which is basically VPN stuff. That's if you are using a PHP server. I do not recommend that way of doing it because you are depending on the server that runs Matomo, and we don't want that. We want to do that plugin works only in JavaScript. So here I use that method. You just have to fetch an API from the web browser of the users, and that API is just returning that object, okay? Every new users fetch an external API, and that API is just providing the IP address of the user. Yes, I know I could have coded that right in the plugin, like just opening an endpoint to the outside and say that every time you just ping the API, it will just return the IP address. Maybe it should be on the v2 of that plugin, but actually for the test, for the demo, I'm calling outside to an external API. And here is the response. So I just hide the values, but I've got an IP, a network mask, and a version of the IP, etc., which is what we want to get. We only want the IP address. Okay, we've got the IP. Then we have to implement the hard way, all the stuff we've built on the website of the customer. So I know that's very much of code, but here is a simple copy and paste. You have to copy that code and paste it on the website. So what does that code do? Here we have a calling functions. That function just stopped there. And here we are just providing some information such as the API key of the weather API provider. Then just provide the language you want to get the information for. Like, would like the API to answer you in French, in English, German, or stuff like that. All languages are available in the documentation. Here, here we just make a filter to prevent duplicates data from the API. So we don't want to call multiple times the API per user. We want to call it once per visit. What we do here is just storing the weather information in a local storage on your web browser. That local storage allows us to directly know that the user already have fetched weather information. So if the local storage, the session storage is filled with weather data, we do not provide a new fetch to the weather API. We already have the data. It prevents bad performance. So that's a great thing. Then we just ask for the user IP address. Okay, we've got the IP address. And then once we have the IP address, we fetch weather data. We fetch weather data with the API key, the address, the IP address, and the language you just choose. We wait for the response, and then we just exploit. We just have the weather data in a weather constant. And we just have to paste weather objects and every data we want to grab within the pack.push function weather reports.setWeather. Here is like documentation, so you can edit values, like here the visibility in kilometers, but if you want to edit this and get the value in miles, you can obviously edit kilometers here and replace it with the word miles, and you would get miles in that function. Okay, here is the hard way of setting up the weather data on your website. You can manage, as I just told you, many units. You want to manage like Fahrenheit or Celsius degrees, inch or millimeters, miles or kilometers, and kilometers per hours. So that allows us to collect data all over the world, and that make that plugin available for everybody. But this is like the hard way. If everybody have to copy and paste that code, it will be a little bit scary. So we provided a better solution, which is the tag manager solution. In Matomo plugin development, we can create custom tag, and that's what we did. We create a custom new weather tag with using the PHP console generate double dots tag manager dash tag console line, which add to your plugins a template of a tag manager tag. And here what we found in the tag. In the tag, you just have to set the name, the description, help, like hints, just string, obviously. The category, so here the category is a company name. and then just provide an icon, which is a cloudy and the sun, just a tiny icon, and then the parameters you want to provide to the user. So here, I just set one parameter, like temperature unit by default is the value C, but it will be a select in the UI, and you can choose between Celsius and Fahrenheit value. So here is the value that will be stored in the database, and here is the translation string that will be translated in your own languages. That's quite easy. So the only things we have to change is the category and the icon, and providing some controls that are already generated in the templates tags, but you have to edit the controls. And then we have to make the JavaScript part of that tag. So here is like backend tags, like PHP tag, the UI in the tag manager. And here is like the working part, JavaScript part of the tag. The JavaScript part of the tag is obviously the same thing as the code we pasted the hard way. But here, you don't have to do anything. I already did it for you, and it's working as well in the tag. So it's obviously the same thing, but all the constant we had in the latest script have been replaced by parameters.get. In that way, we can grab your own configuration from the Matomo database in order to get the API key, the languages, temperature units, precipitation units, etc. So we get all the variables here, and we pass it through the pack.push function as we did before. With that way working, you just have to go in your tag manager backend and create a brand new tag. The brand new tag will appear as a weather tag within the OpenMOS category. By hitting that button, you will enter the tag configuration. And as you can see, you have a clear UI when you just have to provide a weather API key. You just have to select a language between all the language provided by the API, and you can obviously here provide different units. Obviously, it's always a select UI control because you can't enter raw data. It's only between options that have been provided by the weather API. And here we are able in few seconds, just by hitting an API key here, to get weather data. Okay, now we have a complete setup of how we can call an API, get the IP address of the user, sending that API address to a weather API provider, getting the weather information, sending it to the plugin in the Matomo instance, storing data in the database, process the data using archiving system, and then providing clear reports in the UI. So now is the fun part. You just have to analyze the data you've collected for weeks. Okay, now in the Matomo instance, you have under visitor menu the weather page. In that page, we have like all the reports we've created with custom dimensions, with plugin dimensions. If we have chosen the way of creating custom dimensions instead of creating a plugins, we will have many menu here, one per custom dimensions. And in every page, we only have one reports. So creating a plugins allow you to have several dimensions right in the same page, which is very cool. So here in weather, we can grab conditions, cloud, pressure, temperature, felt temperature, precipitation, UV, humidity. And if you scroll down, we will have like wind speed, wind direction, etc. This will be very useful for everybody. And with that reports, with that dimensions we had, I thought that there is a question. Great, I would really like to use this with some tourism customer question about sending APIs to the weather API. This is based with GDPR. Actually, we don't know, but it's like browser parts. So it's not in the Matomo database. We do not grab that APIs, but weather API, if that weather API does not match your needs, you can obviously change with using the hard way, not the tag manager, but using the hard way, you can change the weather API. Do I need prior consent from the visitor to get weather data? Probably yes, right? Here, I think yes, because when I throw that plugin into the customer's website, it's under the GDPR consent. So that's not a question I had, because my customers always are a GDPR compliance with the cookie banner. So maybe we have to test. But I don't think that weather is like personal data, but it's based on the location. So I have to dig that question. This is not the legal part, is really not my best part of the development for that plugins. And can I only use the weather function if I have the visitor's consent, probably using the tag function or using the tag depending on the consent? Yes, if you have obviously configured any CMP consent manager platform on your website, you just have to trigger that tag using data layer events, like if you are using Acceptio maybe or something like that. Acceptio is pushing to the database, to the data layer, an event called accept consent cookie underscore provider or vendor, something like that. You just have to hear for that event in the data layer and then trigger the tag at the right moment. So if it's like normal tag in tag management, so you can trigger it whenever you want. And when you want to deploy the code the right way, the hard way, using pure JavaScript, yes, it's a function. So you just have to trigger the functions once you get the consent. I saw that Rona have a question. What are your personal plans for new plugins? For new plugins in Matomo here, it would be a hybrid between theme and plugins, such as a plugin that allow you to edit every main components in the UI, like buttons, cards, header, menu, and you can just change color, size, font size, paddings, stuff like that. That will be great. And have other plugins ID, such as continue tag manager extending plugins by adding more tags. I had good information about triggering live alerts, which could be quite easy, providing an API key from a notification system, and just trigger as you triggered an event to the database, but you can trigger any push notifications to your phone, to a messaging system like Slack or Element or not everything. You can just push via API using tag manager tag. That could be a very good way of doing it. A goal threshold for data viz, not really. What do you talk? Can you provide me some more information about your questions? How could Matomo help you contribute more? The main problem I encounter while developing plugins is that the documentation is not filled. It's not like the documentation is very, very empty at sometimes. So we need more information. We need more concrete, not concrete, but not more real examples. And we have to dig into how Matomo works. So for creating a plugin like that, we have to read many other plugins created by the community to read and learn how they did this, because the documentation can't handle that. How could you help your Matomo barometer plugins? Yes, obviously, or now we can work together to create a barometer plugins for the data viz and goal threshold, as you write in the chat, and maybe will be available next time for creating this plugin. It will be a good idea. I saw that Valentin Barres told new question. What about indexion impact? Does your plugin create overload from server perspective? Actually, no. It's really there is no issue with overload, because we override the main Matomo call. So it's like heavy as a custom events. So when you trigger custom events, it just calls the database, paste the value in the database, and weather reports work the same way. And it just generates obviously more and more data in the database, and we have to process more reports. So which maybe is your question at the base. And archiving report system works with weather reports the same way as if you did it with custom dimensions. So it's overload the system the same way as if you create like 7 custom dimensions. It's obviously the same. Then now we have our report working, dimensions working, and obviously we have segments working. So you can create segments in the UI using every dimensions you've had. So since the beginning, we have chosen that we use the temperature dimension. So you can just search for temperature and there are visitors and you just have the temperature dimensions right here. Just select an operator and then define a value like temperature above 20 degrees. Save and apply, and you will have only the visits where the visitors live in a country that at the moment of the visit, it will be warmer than 20 degrees. If you want to work with the API, you just have to add and weather underscore temperature superior or bigger and equals to 2050, the value you want to provide in order to make the API works with segments. There is no other way interacting with the data. Something is missing actually in this plugin, that you can't bring weather reports to the dashboard. So I have to create widgets. I will create widgets. It's quite easy using a generator, but it's very simple. I have to do that maybe in the next release. And one of the last things I want to talk with you is that in the visits log, if you have visits log enabled in your Matomo interface, we're using two files, visitordetails.php, which is the file you have in front of us here. We just map every data from the visitor profile to the visitor profile from the database. And then we render that data in a brand new view. So here is a visitordetails.twig, which is a view renderer of Matomo. And we add for every card in the visitor logs interface, we add weather menu with every conditions and every data we grab from the API. So every data you have that kind of value. So maybe it's time for me to show you quickly in the interface how we can do this, but we are almost done with that data. I will show you in the demo instance. I've built it up for the conference. Here it's great. And then here we just have to go to visitors and then weather, pick a date in the past because I don't have any data right there. So maybe I don't have data on that instance. I have to change instance right there. And here we are. Okay, here we are. We have instance right there. And as you can see, here we have like all the conditions the API is returning us, the data, the clouds, and for every report, we can switch between simple table, engagement, or goal metrics. So if you are an e-commerce, you just go to goal metrics and you will have all your goals right here, which is very, very good. You can perform a search here that will filter between all the labels that are displayed here. You can create segments as we see. And in the tag manager, we can just go to creating a new tags. And in the tags list that we have to look for weather tag here. And if you click on weather, you just have to provide your API key, select language between all the languages that have been supported by the API. And as I told you, you can switch between every units that is provided by the customers. And just by publishing a new container, it will work perfectly and you will have weather information. So we did it. We have a plugins that could be installed from the marketplace within a click. And then you have to create an account on Weather API interface, grab your API key, paste it on the tag manager container, and publish a new container, which take almost 3 or 5 minutes, maybe, and you will start collecting weather information using that plugins. So it's a way of how we can respond to the customer's needs at the beginning with building a plugin that will help the community and maybe help many people later by answering one customer's question. So now we are able to know that his e-commerce website sells when the weather come warmer than 24 degrees. We know that he sells more stuff more items when the weather comes to sunny and by the day, and etc., etc. So we have very, very good information, and we can talk about units, we can talk about metrics and real value instead of knowing stuff because when you open the door, it's rainy outside, and you say, okay, it's rainy. Yes, it's rainy at your home, but not in your all customers' home, and that's why. So thank you for being watching that talk. If you have questions, I will stay in the chat for minutes after that talk to answer all the questions. And if you have right now questions, I can answer it live. But thank you for all. The plugin is for free and available on the marketplace. So don't hesitate to test it up and to make feedbacks if you found any bugs. I guess there is no bugs, but still maybe remaining some. And don't hesitate to contribute to that plugins. Thank you.
So, well, hi everyone. I hope you are doing well. Today I will talk with you about Matomo Analytics and Microsoft SharePoint. Before asking if everyone have any knowledge about SharePoint, I will just introduce myself. So my name is Laurent Sittler. I'm a Microsoft 365 consultant architect. I'm working for Sword company, and here you can have access to my personal information like Twitter and GitHub, and the QR code just redirects you directly on my personal homepage. So, SharePoint Analytics. What does that mean really, and why should you use Matomo with SharePoint? Just some information and what is it interesting to have this kind of solution in addition to Microsoft SharePoint? First of all, because SharePoint is your favorite platform of collaboration and communication. For sure, if you have Microsoft 365 environment, SharePoint can be a good asset to communicate and share any information and collaborate with each other in the same organization, even with external people. So this is why that can be interesting to have this kind of platform to work in your organization. SharePoint usage dashboard does not provide enough information maybe for your organization. This is why adding an analytics like Matomo can be really useful for your company, because you want maybe have some specific KPI based on SharePoint and based on your organization needs, and maybe you want something like with the real-time usage on your SharePoint sites. And main pros of this kind of solution with Matomo, this is mainly if you want to own your data. Here we will work on SharePoint Online, but you need to know that it is totally possible to use the same things on SharePoint on-premise, mainly for the 2019 mainly, but you can use it for the 2016 or 32. So you just change the solution package that will show you during this presentation. Ronan, question. In the past, there was a lot of requests for Matomo consulting with SharePoint Analytics. Is still the case? I do not know, to be honest. And does Microsoft Clarity Analytics use with SharePoint Analytics? Not really. Today, Microsoft Clarity is a solution based on Microsoft directly, so this is not any link today with Matomo, to be honest. And this is why, in this case, it's something else. It's like if you want to use Google Analytics, and you have to add specific heading in your code to be able to link your website or SharePoint with Clarity of Microsoft. So the solution that I will show you today is quite simple to deploy, and you can deploy it directly on a specific SharePoint site or for your world to know. That means all the sites in your environment of Microsoft SharePoint. The solution that I will show you too is compatible with SharePoint Modeling Experience and the legacy one. Not the same package, because I have two different packages to do the same thing, but the main idea is the same. And it's quite easy to deploy from any platform, because you have different kind of package and the script to be able to deploy it directly. So I think maybe you want to do maybe you want to see how it works directly. So my presentation is mainly based on a real demonstration. That means I will build quickly an environment to be able to have Matomo Analytics directly on my own laptop, and I will use it to map it directly on my SharePoint site. So to do this, you can use my own blog, because all information that we'll show you today is based on my previous blog posts, and this is this one. I'm just explaining how we can build quickly a Docker for Matomo, and to be able to deploy the package on your own environment. So first of all, I will take my own Docker Compose to do it, and I will create it directly. So matomocompose.yaml, paste. I will change some configuration, because this is a quite old post. So some things are changed until this version. So first of all, the MySQL version must be the latest one, and Matomo, because Matomo now provide his own Docker, so that means we don't have to use bitnami anymore. And I think this is it for my part. So this is it, and we just have to run it now. Docker Compose, file Matomo, and I already checked on my site yesterday, so that means I don't have to pull the whole image. I just have to up my server directly on my local laptop. I just have to wait the image is built. In the same way, I will just show you, because I want to show this time. I'm mainly working on Mac OS on Linux, but for this time I choose to use Windows to deploy the solution on the environment, just to change, and that can be fun. And for this exercise, I just create a specific Microsoft SharePoint site based on the Matomo website to for just have some page, an area, some content to be able to check if everything is okay. Like this. So this is my portal, and here. By the way, if you are just looking at my blog post, once your Docker is ready, it's not the case now, but I can just prepare the rest of my presentation at the same time. You have to download the latest version from my own repository. You can choose between use the PowerShell solution. That means you can deploy the solution directly from a Microsoft Windows environment. And if you have any Mac or Linux, you can use the Bash version of the scripts to be able to deploy on your environment. And if you don't want to use any scripts to deploy the solution, you can directly use the SPPKG to deploy directly on the app catalog of SharePoint directly. So what we have to do, first of all, is to connect to the website. So connect to PNP Online. You are here. I just have to take the rest of my websites here. And my recommendation is to use SPO management shell. You can use different kind of connection, but one of the most to be able to deploy this kind of package, SPO management shell is really work really well. And if you have different kind of connection in the same environment, another recommendation is to clear the token cache to avoid any wrong connection to SharePoint. So that means because I clear the cache, I have to log in again. I will use my account directly. Here, that's correct. So just one thing I just prepared for this presentation. I just create an app catalog directly on my site collection, because I will show you how to deploy just Matomo Analytics on one site collection on my environment rather than deploying it for the whole tenant. So here, that means you have to create an app catalog on your SharePoint site. You can find quite easily the information through the different documentation of Microsoft on the PNP community. So here I'm connected. So if I'm going to just get my PNP web, just to ensure I'm connecting on the good site, here. Yeah, this is a good one. So in my blog post, I just explain, because when you are working on Microsoft Windows, when you are downloading this kind of script, of PowerShell script, for security reason, you have, before unzip the package, unblock the files. So I already did it on my side, but just you have to know, if you are going here, you just have to click on the repository. And if you just click on here PowerShell, the archive zip file, just have to unblock it directly thanks to the command here. So you just unblock file, and you just have to precise your package. On my side, that should be something like Matomo and the archive zip. If you do this, you can be able to extract all files from the archive, and you will be able to execute the code. If you don't do this, you will have an error. So now I'm connecting. I'm getting my my script. So now I just have to configure my Matomo server to be sure that everything is okay. So in my case, I will use my local IP. You can use ngrok if you want to use it through the internet and use HTTPS connection, an SSL connection. In my case, I don't have, I don't need it. I just have, I just need a version of Matomo to be able to just check my my environment. So in this case, because this is just demonstration environment, I don't have any strong password. This is just password 1, and this is default root account for MySQL. and I just use MTM for the database name, and everything should be okay here. Just have to wait. Yeah, table created. So that means my Matomo server is almost done. Next, super user, Matomo, and super password. For the password, quite easy. Super password. Again, email. I can use mtm at matomo.local. I'll have to subscribe on anything here. And one last step, for sure, you have to create your tracking ID to be able to link your SharePoint site to Matomo environment. So in my case, I just use SharePoint demo. And website, you can use directly the world domain name, the world DNS, or you can precise just your site collection. In my case, I just use for avoid any constraint. I will use the world domain name. And my time zone here is Canada. So I will use my Canada time zone here. And that's it. This is our e-commerce site. So now you have the tracking code, but for SharePoint, you don't have to use this code. The only thing that you have to know, this is your tracking ID and your website URL that will host your Matomo server. So yay, continue to Matomo. That sounds good. Yeah, this is one more thing. Do not forget it, because I'm in local. I just need to change something. So Docker exec ID. What is the container name? Container ID. This is this one, and Bosch, and just have to replicate a bit. I don't like VI. Sorry. For developer guides, I prefer use Nano. Just my own preference. Sorry about that. Config. Yeah, application install. Install Nano. That should be quite fast. Yeah, Nano config and configure it. And I just have to change this line here for the trusted host. And because here I'm not using the default port, that should be something like 443 or 80. But in my case, because I have different kind of servers that running on the same host, I can use the same port for the web server. So now everything is okay. So if I remember well, so it is something like super password. That can be something like ngrok or your own domain and your site ID. If you have several site IDs, that can be something else than just the one. And with this information in mind, and you can just go back to my blog post and it just explains the command here. So you can copy directly the command and just edit some information. So I will just check stop. Here, in my case, I need the tracking site ID 1. And because my server is localhost, so that means this IP, double dot, this one, without any HTTPS. And my SharePoint site where I will deploy my package is this one. Here we go. Now everything should be work well. I hope. I wish and I pray for the God of the demo that everything is okay. Everything seems okay. So first thing that you can check is on your SharePoint site if you have the new package extensibility available on your site. So this is quite easy to check it. You will have this new application, Matomo Analytics for SharePoint, and you can just check the version and your package. If everything is okay, with no error directly on your app catalog. So now everything should be okay. So that means we can go to the site and browse different pages to just have some traffic. I will just switch some page directly, okay, like this, and maybe just perform a search. Matomo. This is the context of this presentation. We have a search. That's it. It's time to break. Okay, so now if I go back to my server, I should have nothing because I'm just using this IP and my virtual machine does not know this server. So that I have to do directly here on my laptop directly. So I will check again on my side. I will just switch from page to page on the premises here, and maybe just to perform the search like this. So now if I go back here, oh, let's move. That sounds good. So if I go to the real time, I can see, or I can just go to visit log directly. What I can see here, I can see something. It's happened. I can check my own IP, and I can check which page was visited by my guest, my visitor, and I can even check any search on my SharePoint site. So I can go to different modern page only. That means if I go, for example, to the site content, it works too. That means you can go back to the site contents and you can explore default document library, any kind of document directly on the site. And now the only thing is, because my configuration, my basic configuration does not track more information, and it's not totally the case here because, yeah, I already tracks the user ID, and here what I can check is I can go to the site contents and our documents, so everything sounds good. So what you have of information based on my script, what you have to keep in mind. If I check the PNP PowerShell, because this is one of the prerequisites to be able to deploy the solution on your environment. This is a framework, a module PowerShell that you have to install directly on your machine. And what are the parameters that you have to use? You have some required, like the site URL, just I show you, and the tracking URL. You can use a CDN endpoint, because previously with the timeout and the time for loading the page, sometimes SharePoint is just loading faster than the extension that you just install on my site. So that means it does not track correctly my page load. And after that, you have to track the site ID. Okay, everything sounds good here. And you have by default the track outbit timer at true. You can provide the track user ID rather than just using the login name. You can use directly the user ID to be able to track more anonymously the information. And because in my case, I just deploy the extension on my specific site collection, I can use this kind of parameter directly on my command, on my cmdelete, to be able to deploy the package for the whole tenant. So once I did it, if I do this, I will deploy the whole package on my whole tenant. That means all of my SharePoint site collection, all of my SharePoint site will be able to be tracked directly with the same configuration. What does that mean too? That means if you want to track different site collection, but you want to use different tracking site ID, you can just do exactly what I did on my side for this demonstration, and you will be able to track different sites for different tracking site ID based on Matomo. So that means you can have different, here it's not my case here because I have just only one website, but you can have SharePoint demo, for example. In the most case for several organizations, that can be your intranet or sometimes extranet or any kind of website that you want just to split based on this information. You can just create different tracking ID and deploy directly the solution on each site. What else? Skip the custom action. So that means you can install the package without enable the tracking directly on the site, and you can skip some part of the deployment. You have several demo here of an example of the code that you can use directly on your environment to just check if everything is okay. And because I'm just working on a Microsoft Windows, if you have any Mac OS or Linux environment, you can use here the framework CLI for Microsoft 365. You have to install directly through NPM environment the package here, and you just have to connect. You have to, for sure, be allowed the setup.sh to be executable directly on your environment, and you have exactly the same parameter to launch the setup. And what else? So in my case, everything sounds good. What I can just afford you is if you have any trouble with the script, it really easy to debug it. As you can see here, you have just some PowerShell script, and you can just edit whatever. And what it does not mention here, you have the documentation about my extension. You can use the setup PS1, the bash script, and just be aware about the version of the Microsoft 365 CLI on PnP PowerShell. In my case, I'm just using the PowerShell 5 and not the latest one. So that means I does not use the 7 one. So that means the core one. That can be an upgrade of my solution for deploy the package on your environment. And this is the same case for Microsoft 365 CLI. My script I have 2 years ago, and that means it's not currently the latest version of the NPM. What about the code? Quickly, if you have any upgrade, for example, here the solution is quite easy. It's quite basics. So that means you just have to, you can just record the site's usage, and mainly just visit between the different page of the site, and you can catch the search. But if you want more indicator, more KPI on your environment, the only thing that you have to do is you have two choices, to be honest. You can just go to the code and change the different API. So not API, but KPI. And you just have to go here, and once you have any kind of event, you just have to push the pack directly on your environment, and you can track, for example, any download file, any opened file. You can check any action based on SharePoint. For example, if you want to go to your site collection and just use the ellipsis, and any kind of this kind of link can be tracked directly. Mainly based because Microsoft has a really good thing for the different action. For example, here what is really interesting, you have anytime a data automation ID. And for each kind of button that you can find here, you have exactly this kind of information. So here, pin item command, you have here follow command, and you have exactly the same kind of thing here for here the drop down menu. Here, for example, you should have something like blah 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 contextual. In this is not the case. I choose the wrong case here, but here, for example, we have the data automation ID to be able to share your content directly with someone else. And if you want to go to the page and catch directly when someone is sharing something to someone else, you just have to get the page here quite easily and check the different send button to be able to track the people. So anyway, this is quite technical here on this case, but just one line things you can know is in the future, in the next few weeks, I will release a new package to be able to use directly Matomo Tag Manager rather than just Matomo Analytics. So that means you everything of this kind of action can be directly managed through Tag Manager. So that means you don't have to develop on the package and change something to be able to track different kind of KPI on your environment. And this is it for my presentation. It's quite fast. I just want to be sure that everything is okay. Sometimes I need more time to do this presentation because you have some latencies with Sharpens, but today everything worked well. So if you have any question, this is the moment for you.
We have many questions. Ronan Chardonnay saying, so the automatic support of user ID is brought thanks to the special Docker image developed for Microsoft SharePoint. And the second question is, will you share the link of the GitLab in the chat? If the Matomo team awarded
for the first easy question, I just share my blog post directly on the chat, so that means you can directly access to my blog post, and you will have all information about the Docker and the link to direct to my repository to be able to download the solution. That's for the first question. For the second one about the tracking ID of the user, I'm not sure to understand exactly what is the question about the tracking. I go here, just heard about the tracking user ID. What is exactly the question about the ID? Blah, 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 blah. So, to automatic support of user IDs brought thanks to special Docker image management from... No, that's all. Yeah, sorry, Rana. Now, here, this is my code directly that will manage and provide this information. So if I just go back to my code here, you can handle it and change anything that you need. If you don't want to have this information, you just have to go here, and you have here the user ID based on the current context of SharePoint. That means the login ID. If you prefer have the GUI ID or something like this, you can choose to change this line of code and change by the login name by the GUI ID of the Entra ID object or something else. And the other question is, push the link of the GitLab. That's okay. Is Matomo aware about this documentation? Yeah. And thanks to Ronan Chardonnay, you can have all information about my Matomo on SharePoint directly, and that will be redirected directly on my solution today. I will try to provide as many as I can some support about my my extension today. But because this is only on my free personal time, it's not easy every day to be able to provide any support quite quickly. So if you go just to SharePoint site here, you have here, I don't know if it's this one or the other one. This is for on-premises. On-premises, I provide another solution too, as I mentioned. This is mainly for the modern experience here directly. Here, you have a link directly on this page. I can just show you the same link. And here you have the explanation about on which kind of platform this extension works. And currently it works for SharePoint Online and Microsoft SharePoint Server 2019 too. Because this is a version of my extension, I voluntarily choose to keep an old version of the SPFX. This is a framework provided by the Microsoft community. And this is clearly not the latest version. The latest version is something like 1.14 and not 1.4. This is the latest version that you can use to be able to deploy this kind of extension of both platforms, on the on-prem one and the online one. So that's it for the explanation here. I don't know if you have any other information about different kind of information here. No, everything is made based on my my blog post directly. Yeah, so I think I answered the 3 questions. Does the plugin deal with Matomo custom dimension? Not yet, not this component, because this component is mainly based on Matomo Analytics and not Tag Manager. So that means you can add this kind of dimension directly. So it's exactly what I said. I will provide in the next few weeks a new extension on which you will be able to use directly Matomo Tag Manager or any kind of analytics tool, for not mention the other ones, but you will be able to map directly your tag manager with Sharp on-site, and you will be able to use the custom dimension directly through tag manager without to have edit something else directly through the SPFX solution. So that means if you don't have any skill for Sharp on development, you don't have to have this kind of skills, because everything that will be did directly through the tag manager. Instead of Matomo? Well, that can be a good question. I think yes, but I don't try it myself. When I say yes, it is mainly because you can provide your own URL of your server environment. Here, this is a Matomo Analytics server URL. So I think if you don't choose to use Matomo.org, for example, if you choose pweek something, everything should work. Yes. Just I will check something on my code because I'm not really sure. But you can, yeah, I'm pretty sure, because if you want to use a specific CDN rather than using the Matomo one by default, you can specify. So the CDN, what is it exactly? This is a content delivery network. So that means you can specify a specific URL to load the JavaScript injection directly on your site. So what does that mean is, if I go back to my code, you have here the main code to be able to launch the tracker on your site. And here you can directly check if you specify another and what is it, the tracking URL, and then maybe not. No, I don't think so. pweek can work, because that will not be matomo.php for the endpoint of the API. I think this is something like pweek.php. So if you want to use this extension, and if this extension needs to work with pweek, you have to change this line mainly to revert Matomo by pweek.php, something like this. This is the only reason why this version of the solution does not work with pweek directly. You just have to perform this change, and I think everything should be okay with that. And this is the same thing here. Each occurrence of Matomo need to be changed by pweek. And that's it. Any other question? I can mention, because I have some time, if you want, I provide different kind of extension, and many you can find here, Matomo Analytics, and where is the other one? I think I already provided Matomo for legacy. Classic SharePoint site, yes, it is it. So if you have legacy experience of Microsoft SharePoint, so that means if you are using SharePoint 2016, or if you as well choose to use the legacy experience of Microsoft SharePoint Online rather than using the modern one, you can use this information to be able to deploy directly solutions. So in my repository too, you can find different kind of custom action, and here mainly you can you can find Google Analytics and Matomo 2 and Matomo Tag Manager 2 in this case, with a little error. And with Matomo Analytics, you can directly use this script to be able to deploy the package on your site. So this is exactly the same idea, basically. The only thing that will change here, this is for Matomo Tag Manager. In this case, you will be able for only classic experience. That means at least from the version of SharePoint 2030. And that means it's compatible with the 16, 19, and online one, at least as you are using the classic experience of SharePoint. You can use here the Matomo Tag Manager on your SharePoint site. And this is quite easy because you don't have to provide a lot of information. At least just the site URL of your SharePoint site, the tracking site URL, and everything else is managed by Tag Manager directly. And yeah, that's it. Any other question? Then to the God of demo, it was quite fast, hopefully for me. But yeah, I have some time, so if you have any other question, do not hesitate. Yes, and I think if there are no more questions, you can close the room. Thank you.